My father died in a madhouse. Like all of us, he was surrounded by a small circle of acquaintances for convenience sake. And they were a lot of scoundrels, of course, as most people are. But he had to have some society, as he couldn't sit it all alone. He knew that they were false, and he knew the full extent of their perfidy, but he remained always polite. One day he held a big party. It was in the evening, naturally, and he was tired out by a hard day's work, along with the strain of keeping his thoughts to himself while talking a lot of damned rot to his guests. Well, while they were still at the table, he rapped for silence, raised his glass, and began to speak. Then something loosened the trigger, and in a long speech he stripped the entire company naked, telling them all he knew about their treacheries. At last, when utterly tired out, he sat down on the table itself and told them all to go to hell. After that, my parents had a fight, the guests were rushed to the doors, and my father was taken to a madhouse where he died. To keep silent for too long is like letting water stagnate so that it rots. That was what has happened in this house. And yet I thought it paradise the first time I saw you enter. Here I saw a colonel who was no colonel. I had a generous benefactor who was a robber and had to hang himself. I saw a mummy who was no mummy, and a maiden who... Where is beauty to be found? Where do we find honour and faith? In fairy tales and childish fantasies. Where can I find anything that keeps its promise? In my own imagination. Oh yes, your flowers have poisoned me. And now I'm squirting that poison back at you. I asked you to become my wife in a home full of song, poetry and music. To think that the most beautiful flower could be so poisonous. There must be a curse on life itself. They say that Jesus Christ descended into hell. It refers merely to his wanderings on this earth. His descent into that madhouse, that jail, that morgue.